into our weekend's predictions and reactions to those predictions. So if you're new around here, me and Sim do go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes every single week. We have a scoring system. At the moment, it's 92 points to myself and 78 points to Sim. And the way the scoring works is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. Star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. It's 5 points for every goal, 2 points for every assist. And let's go and see what we predicted this weekend, starting off at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 2. I went for 2-1 to Spurs, and I was so close, man. I was so close.
2-1 up and down to 10 many for in the bag.
Oh, literally, man. When we scored that winner, I was like, 5 points in the back pocket. Spurs 3 points.
And then you saw Rishi take a shirt off.
Oh, and then,
and then it was all
so
over.
it goes from 5 points to you get a +1.
Yeah, I can't sit here and say I'm delighted with it, but take the point is what it is. Yeah, Tottenham, it was a very poor game for large parts, but one that did explode into life right at the end, and crazy ending, to be honest. The way that we battled back, and when we got that equaliser out of nowhere, then they had a one-on-one. Van de Ven makes a challenge, Richarlison then scores, and De Ligt right at the death, somehow snatching a point from Man United. Continues their unbeaten streak, but Tottenham's sorry form at home unfortunately does continue, despite the fact that we were 30 seconds away from a winner.
Yeah. Look, it's an unfortunate turn of events. Most people will probably say a draw is a fair reflection of the game. I thought, yeah, look, you can't complain with the draw, but I thought we were just slightly the better team on the day. But yeah, can't really complain with the draw with how we played for the most part. But yeah, finishes 2-2. Spurs are now what, in sixth?
We are fifth at the moment.
In fifth, but you've got from fifth all the way down to 9, all on the same points.
Yeah, so we're there thanks to our goal difference. We had a couple of big wins, but yeah, Man United. I think you can see they got some good players, but I don't know. I'm not buying their big turnaround. I didn't think they played particularly well, Man United. They got in the lead, and they were probably a bit better than us at times. But second half they crumbled a bit. I felt, and definitely tired near the end when they had the 3 weeks. I don't know why they're the ones tiring. And I actually think Amorim's in-game changes hurt them a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it was their in-game changes as well as our in-game changes.
Yeah.
Because we just majorly strengthened our left-hand side and they kind of weakened it, their right-hand side. So,
but no, and I don't think you came away with from this game thinking either of these teams are going to be like in terms of in the top 4 race or top 5 race. They neither really threw down the gauntlet.
No, but I don't think anyone is really doing that at this moment in time. So I think it's all very open, as the Premier League table shows. So I wouldn't be surprised if both these teams are in the mix come the end of the season. I think, you're looking at Arsenal and Man City, who are running away with it at the top. Kind of not, the points tally don't really suggest it, but I think everyone else has got a fair crack of the whip. All right, so Sim gains a point for that one. Let's move on to Everton against Fulham. Finished 2-0 to Everton. Both of us went for 2-1 to Everton, so we both gained a point there, and I think Fulham have got a bit worried with the way they're going this season, but Everton back to winning ways. I thought the well-deserved victory as well. Could have been more.
Yeah, and good return to form for them, and it was a good victory. But especially after their form in recent weeks have not been good. But Fulham, I mean, they did get a win last week against Wolves, but another damaging defeat. Didn't get a goal again. They're struggling really for goals, and they're 1 point now outside the relegation zone. I mean, they're really in it at the moment. They're right in the thick of it, you got to say. I know they're 15th, but when there's 1 point there, you've got to say, they could be, any given weekend, they could be dragged into that relegation zone. And you're looking at their team and I don't know, I'm looking at their team and it's not bad, but I think it's a kind of paper-thin squad, and they're relying on Jimenez and who's the other striker? Muniz, he's there?
Yeah.
Like, when the goals are drying up for them at the moment, all of a sudden, who's going to get the goals for them? You're struggling to see. So you are a bit worried about them, but I just feel like if it wasn't for Marco Silva, I would say I'd be even more worried. But I just think Silva should have enough about him to keep him up. Yeah.
But you just never know. You just never know, because I think anyone in and around that mix is going to get dragged into it. And I was saying, look, Fulham are probably too good to go down, but now I'm thinking about it and being like, West Ham are turning it around a little bit. Leeds, I know they're on poor form, but they can pull results out. Burnley, are they going to go like Forest? They're turning it around a little bit. So, I mean, it's going to be a big race for relegation this season, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And with the promoted teams performing so much better than they have done the last couple of years, I think that should be alarm bells ringing for some of the more stable Premier League teams.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to some other relegation candidates. And West Ham 3, Burnley 2. West Ham had to get the 3 points in this game, and that's what they did.
An early season 6-pointer.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few of them this year already, but yeah, we both went for 2-0 to West Ham, but it was, goals galore in this game. Kyle Walker-Peters kind of sealing the win off from them late on, and then Burnley went on and got a consolation into stoppage time. But was it a deserved victory for West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, I think Burnley did take the lead kind of more against the run of play, but once Burnley take the lead, you're like, oh no, here we go again for West Ham. Are they going to be banging in trouble? If they would have lost this and Burnley extend that gap to 6 points, you're like, bloody hell. But credit to West Ham, just like against Newcastle, didn't let the goal affect them. Came back into it in the first half, and in the end, quite comfortably did win and deservedly won. And that's 2 wins in a row now for Nuno after a shocking start to his tenure. So, signs of life potentially for West Ham under Nuno, you could say.
Yeah, they got difficult fixtures coming up. They go away to Bournemouth after the international break. They got Liverpool at the London Stadium, and then they go away to Manchester United. So it'll be interesting to see how many points they can pick up on those 3 games.
Yeah, still currently in the relegation zone. Level on points with Burnley now, they're both on 10 points. So.
Yeah, they had to win. They couldn't let Burnley go 6 points ahead of them.
Yeah. Burnley, though, obviously, look, they know they're going to lose games, but the only games they've won this season, they beat Sunderland, which, look, is looking like a very good win at the moment. They beat Leeds and they beat Wolves. So it's all the teams, kind of either a promoted team or a team right down at the bottom. So have to start kind of picking up against teams who were in the Premier League last season.
Yeah, and I can't see a win for a while for Burnley. They've got Chelsea next, Brentford away, Palace, Newcastle away.
That Fulham game
is big, yeah.
Big 6-pointer.
So, we both gain a point for the West Ham win. Now let's go to the Stadium of Light, people. Arsenal 2, Sunderland 2, and we both went for Arsenal wins. I went for 1-0, Sim went for 2-0. Arsenal finally concede a goal after 9 games, I think it is. 9 clean sheets in a row.
This would have been their 9th game.
So 8 clean sheets in a row. When Sunderland went 1-0 up, I think everyone outside of Arsenal, all the Arsenal haters, kind of drew a sigh of relief saying, wow.
They can
concede.
It's possible, people.
And not only did they concede 1, but they conceded 2. I thought Arsenal were really poor in the first half, and I thought Sunderland, were deserved winners, or they took the lead deservedly. But second half, Arsenal Arteta took off the handbrakes, and Arsenal just kind of just destroyed them, and they should have put the game out of sight, to be honest. That's the honest truth of it. They didn't. They go 2-1 up with an unbelievable solo goal from Leandro Trossard, and you're thinking, oh, well, Arsenal have done it again. But David Raya and Gabriel get themselves involved in a bit of a mix-up, and there's Brian Brobby to finish it off.
Incredible, and I don't know what Gabriel was complaining. He wanted a high boot, but no chance VAR was ever going to rule that out. And that was a great moment. It didn't really look like coming, although I have to say, there was that one moment before where Raya was scrambling him, wasn't he, from a throw-in. So it wasn't exactly like they weren't threatening at all. And I think Sunderland in general did play very well. But you do have to say, I agree with you, that second half, the way Arsenal approached getting back in the game, they did it. It wasn't just set pieces. It was pure quality from a lot of their players. Saka with the equaliser, then a brilliant goal from Trossard. And it's very unlike Arsenal not to be able to defend a lead like that. It's like very un-Arsenal-like. So I think if you're an Arsenal fan watching that, obviously massively frustrating to drop points in that manner, and to drop on this occasion, on the weekend when Liverpool playing City, to drop points on that weekend when you could, if you would have won, you would have obviously pulled away from one of the 2 teams. You got to be very frustrated, but I also think on the flip side, it did seem more like a one-off in terms of how the game went, rather than a worrying pattern, I would say, if you're an Arsenal fan.
You know what, though? As much as you say it, and I kind of tend to agree with you in a certain aspect, but you cast your mind back to the beginning of last season, or like the first half of last season, and when Arsenal were like kind of in the top 2, and I think they were top at that stage. I can't remember where they were in the exact table, but every time,
I don't think they were top at all last season, were they?
maybe not, but every time a team around them kind of drop points, they also drop points. They never could kind of take that step and take advantage of it. And this kind of carries on that.
Well, they played first.
Yeah, but still, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. And I went into this weekend, I said it before the game, this was actually a massive game for Arsenal because of Liverpool playing City on that same weekend. A chance to really put pressure on both those teams. And if they would have won, they could potentially been 8 and 9 points away from both of those teams, and all of a sudden they're literally walking the league. That draw could be very damaging. Obviously, that gap has been cut now. We'll get into that in a bit, but got to be massive frustrating. And I guess from Arsenal fans' point of view, as much as from a performance point, what they're seeing on the pitch, you can probably put that down to a one-off. You also got to say, we've seen this movie before.
Exactly.
And that's where the anxiety comes in.
That's where I'm at.
That's where the anxiety comes in.
That's where I'm at. I've seen this movie plenty of times, and I don't mind re-watching it over and over again.
Absolutely. Look, and I'm with you there. I'm hoping that it's a sequel to what we've seen many, many a time. I hope it's Arsenal bottle job for the third time lucky.
3.0.
3.0. But look, we'll see. We'll see how they respond to this. Obviously, they got the international break to mull it over. And I still think they did play well and probably deserved the win.
They did play well, yeah.
And when are we going to start taking Sunderland seriously?
Mate,
when is that going to happen?
The manager that they've got there, he is doing a phenomenal job. He really is. The only team to score against Arsenal in so long. Not only that, but they got 2 goals. They played unbelievably well. They've been playing unbelievably well all season. Mate, if they can...
Fourth in the league.
All I can say is it's unbelievable. You've got to give them so much credit.
So solid. And I thought, as much as Arsenal deserved the win, I think, when you're a pro side playing a team as good as Arsenal to play as well as they did, you got to give them so much credit. And you got to find any kind of weapon in the armour, and they did. And to kind of play Arsenal at their own game, I guess, which they did. They scored from 2 set pieces, didn't they? And Dan Ballard, former Arsenal Academy product, brilliant goal. The first one, and a great header to set up Robbie as well. What a performance he put in. And Sunderland,
Xhaka was brilliant as well.
Xhaka, yeah, he also had a top performance, and they're really proving to be a top outfit this season. I do wonder if they're going to drop off at some point. I think everyone's still expecting it, but you got to say after 11 games to be 4th, phenomenal.
Yeah, and they've pretty much their remit in the season was staying up. They've pretty much done that already.
Yeah,
so
they could probably show relegation form between now and the end of the season and
they'll stay up. Yeah. I just love every single player in that backline. That Hume, Mukiele, Ballard, Gertruda, that Ronaldo as well. I think all of them are playing so well right now. And they got very unlucky last time out at Everton not to win as well, at home to Everton. Where would if 2 more points, where would that put them? That put them 2nd in the league, wouldn't it?
No, put them 3rd.
Still, it's just unbelievable the way they're doing it. But on Arsenal... I couldn't have been happier. And I said to you, how long can they keep up this clean sheet record? And all but they just don't look like conceding goals. Well, there you have it. 2 goals conceded this week.
That's the randomness of football for you.
Yeah.
It can happen.
And, we'll get on to Man City in a bit. But let's go and move on to Chelsea against Wolves. Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. Easy as you like for managerless. Not for easy as you like for Wolves, but easy as you like for Chelsea. I went for 2-0, you went for 3-0, so a big fat 5-pointer for Sim. I thought I was getting 5 points for a little bit, but it wasn't to be, and I only get 1 point here. But
they did keep him till half-time, though. And going to half-time, I think there was some booze.
Was there booze at Stamford Bridge, was there?
Confirm, was there booze at half-time? I think there was some booze, if I remember. They weren't playing that well. But once they broke the deadlock... it was kind of plain sailing from that point.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the stats I have. There was 11 shots, 1 big chance for Chelsea, 1 XG to Wolves' 0 XG and 0 shots. I always felt, even at half time, that it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's true. But if you don't take your chances, you never know what can happen. But they ended up taking the lead, Gusto, which surprised me. Apparently, that was his first goal for Chelsea.
Oh, is that right?
I thought he must have scored before, but.
First goal in his career.
First goal in his career. Well, there you go. And you have to say again the story of the game. Esteval, what a talent that kid is. You could hear on the crowd start getting excited when he was warming up and getting it. He's already at the stage where they're cheering his substitution.
Why doesn't he start? He should start, man.
Yeah, he should. He's their best attacker. He came on within a minute, gets an assist, and the game was gone, obviously away from Wolves at that point, and then Neto seals it. So, but yeah, Esteval, what a talent this kid is, and honestly, it's not going to be long till we're talking about him as up there, with one of the best wingers in the league. Honestly,
Yeah, I agree with
he's
that.
Incredible.
Garnacho also settling
well.
to life at Chelsea now. 2 assists on the day, really good crosses. But yeah, Chelsea second in the league and rocking and rolling a bit. Well, third in the league now.
Wolves about to appoint Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
But he got left out of the, as it's hard to, he left out the squad, say that. Again, for Borough on the weekend, they said left him at home.
And they won as well.
They did win. I don't know if is it the right move for him, going from a team top of the Championship to someone guaranteed, like so low down in the Premier League? I
said to you when he was first linked, I think it'd be crazy to go because Middlesbrough could very well be getting promoed this year. Like
initially, they poured cold water on it, but it seems like the more they've spoken, I think Rob Edwards as well was a former Wolves player, so maybe he's got a bit of an emotional attachment there.
Still, like Middlesbrough, a team on the up. Like, is there any chance even for Wolves to stay up this season? No team ever have got 2 points from their opening 11 games and stayed up ever.
I mean, it'll be a great escape. It'll be an absolute great escape. He needs to go. He needs to find some sort of unbelievable winning one. He has to win 2, 3, 4 games in a row at some point in the season. Are they ever going to do it? Look, maybe he backs himself, but to be fair, I do think this Wolves team is better than 2 points after 11 games. Like, they got some talent in there. Like, I don't know how they're doing this badly. I understand they're not the best team, and compared to they maybe don't have the quality, the star quality that some of the other teams have. But João Gomez, Andre, Strand Larsen, like, got some good players there. Like, they should be doing a lot better than what they're doing. But even at their best,
like the players like Munetsi, I think. Like, even
also
he's
this right back they have, Chachua. That guy's rapid. He's also quite good. So maybe he thinks, look, there's a lot of talent that I could work with there.
Yeah, potentially. If he stays up, keeps them up, it'll be an unbelievable job.
Obviously,
really
he couldn't do it with Luton. But
no,
that is Luton.
Yeah, I mean,
they're in League One now.
Yeah, mad. I mean, he took them down to League One, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he left.
He was there for the majority of the season, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that. Rob Edwards is going to be their new manager, and we'll see how he gets on. What's their first few games for Rob Edwards? Because they've kind of like just got through all their kind of favourable games.
So Palace at home, Wolves, Villa away, Forest at home.
All the Midlands clashes straight away.
Then United at home, then Arsenal away. Look, any game is difficult right now, isn't it? We're just reading off fixtures.
Yeah, but like 3 of their last 4 games have been Fulham, Sunderland, and Burnley.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
All right, that's that one. Let's move on to Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0. We both went for 2-2 in this game. This was an absolute battering. I can't believe it. I can't believe Aston Villa took Bournemouth to the cleaners like that. Bournemouth have been so good all season, and particularly in the first half, just not at the levels.
Yeah, found themselves 2-0 down. Obviously, a great free kick with Bendia, and then also I think who's it? Nana from outside the box. So 2 great goals from Villa. You got to give them a lot of credit. Kind of, you probably don't expect to concede those to your Bournemouth. I think the game really did change with a penalty. There was a penalty from Semenyo who had it saved from Martinez. I think if that goes in, the momentum was with Bournemouth. That maybe turns into a bit of a different game, but. He saved it, and then Villa just went on to steal the game. And Bournemouth, you got to say, there was a uncharacteristic off day. Even when they lose, they don't usually get battered like that. So it's very odd. They now have a negative goal difference, which is very odd, which surprises me, a -1. 18 goals conceded, 17 scored. Still in 9th position, and also level on points with us in 5th. But yeah, very uncharacteristic off day. But you got to say, Villa. That's 4 wins in 5 in the Premier League. And
yeah, they're on fire. They're on fire. Form. We were all talking a few weeks ago about, is it the end for Unai Emery? Is he going to leave this season? I mean,
yeah, I was saying, have they lost their spark? But I've got to say, he's got it back.
They've reignited that spark.
Reignited
that's for sure.
it. It surprised me. I really thought they were going to kind of... I didn't see this form coming, put it that way. And fair play. And this as well was a really good performance. Although I did think 4-0 probably flattened them. I don't think it was a real 4-0 game. But look, they won. Fair play.
I guess like when you're 2-0 up and you've got Bournemouth chasing the game, there's always going to be some gaps, aren't there?
That's exactly what happened.
And Villa exploited it. And Villa are a great team at doing that. So
very smart team.
But Bournemouth, on the other hand, 1 win in the last 4 games now. Back-to-back losses, Manchester City and Villa. They
Not
beat
easiest
Forest
games,
and
yeah.
they drew. Yeah, look, it's been 3 hard away games: Villa, Man City, and Palace, which they failed to win in all of them.
Next 2 games are West Ham at home and Sunderland away, so
Yeah,
maybe get some points there.
yeah, you do think so. But anyway, Brentford 3, Newcastle 1. Sim went for 1-1. I went for 2-1, and again seconds away from a bloody 5-pointer in this game, as Dan Burn decides to get sent off, and Brentford seal the deal in stoppage time to make it 3-1. So I get a point for this one. Sim gets 0. Unbelievable. Igor Thiago, man. Another couple
brace.
of goals from him. One from the penalty spot. But Newcastle's woes, particularly away from home, continue. They now sit 2 points above the relegation zone.
Madness. Eddie Howe, what is going on there? And I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans saying Eddie Howe's under a lot of pressure. Is this his worst spell as a Newcastle manager so far? Away from home, they've just been diabolical. They lack so much fight. When you're losing the midfield battle to West Ham, you know there's a big problem. And that's what happened last week. And look, to be fair, just like last week, they took the lead. Great goal from Barnes. Good dribbling in the box and a good finish. And you're thinking, okay, like they've settled in quite well in this game. But second half, they just fell apart. And that's the one thing you really don't associate with a Newcastle team. As much as they can sometimes lose games, they've always been very hard to play against. They don't ever crumble. They never fall apart like we've seen them. And last 2 weeks, they've completely crumbled. And this is against Brentford and West Ham, and they're crumbling under the pressure. I mean, that is really strange, I think, from an Eddie Howe team. That's not what we associate with him and with their team. And Brentford were playing passes in behind. They were lumping in the set pieces, the long throws, and Newcastle couldn't deal with it. They couldn't deal with it, and they had succumbed to the pressure. And if anything as well, that second half, like it looked like Brentford were going to get more goals rather than Newcastle get back into it. So shocking game. It was a very weird thing though. Dan Burn fouls Utara. They get a penalty. They then overturn it because Utara dies, so they booked him, and then a few minutes later, same thing happens, and they give the penalty this time, and obviously Igor Thiago with a brace, he obviously sealed it as well, right at the death. Kevin Sade as well on the score sheet.
8 goals in 11
what
games.
What a start to the season he's had, and Brentford fans have fallen in love with him.
Yeah, and I can see why, battering ram, knows where the back of the net is, works so hard for the team. And I just love the dynamic of that front three of Sade, Utara and Igor Thiago. They just seem to be doing wonders right now.
Keith Andrews at the moment, 12th in the league. If he stays in and around there, he's probably could be in the running for manager of the season at the moment.
You know what?
Incredible.
Nobody gave Brentford a chance this season. Everyone's saying that. Yeah, I know, it's mad. Everyone said they're dead certs for the drop. They got gutted in the summer for everyone, literally. No problem.
Well, Thomas Frank did say a lot of managers could do well in that environment. He said
He did say that. Yeah.
Look, seems like I can see why at the moment.
He didn't say any set piece coach can
he didn't.
do well
You're
in
right.
the job.
And they just seem to just keep getting on with their business, don't they?
Yeah. Next up is Palace against Brighton in the M23 derby. It finished 0-0. We both went for Palace wins, and now that makes it, I think, 5 of the last 6 games at Selhurst Park against these two clubs have ended in a draw. It was 0-0. Gehi, I think, pulls out through injury, out the England squad as well. They had to pull up JD Canvot. But, I was expecting more from this game. I wasn't expecting 0-0, for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, another game where there was a penalty given and the referee overturned it and booked the player for diving. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, 0-0. No one thought this was going to be goalless, especially Brighton, quite an offensive team. Palace at home in the derby. You thought surely both teams are going to go at each other and try and win it. It just turned out not to be the case. Game of fairly few chances. Sarr, though, beginning of the game, had some really good chances. He should have really opened the scoring. Brighton, I think, came back into it. I did feel like Palace were waning a bit in the second half, and Brighton nearly took advantage of it. I think is their European campaign starting to catch up with them a little bit, Palace potentially. I think Brighton will take the point now.
Definitely. They defended very well, Brighton, for the most part. It's not what you really associate them with, but credit to them for staying in the game. But yeah, I think Palace would have probably expected a bit better at home against your big rivals. So is what it is. We end up with 0 points on this one, and we move on to the City ground as Nottingham Forest beat Leeds 3-1. Both of us went for 2-0 for Forest. We both get a point here, and I think this was Sean Dyche is cooking. He is cooking at Nottingham Forest. Well-deserved win, and Leeds are struggling right now.
Yeah, this was a massive win. They had to win it, considering they're mired in the relegation zone.
Went 1-0 up, went 1-0 down.
And then 1-0 down. You're like, all of a sudden, wow, they're under pressure. But to be fair, they responded very quickly. I think within a couple of minutes, had equalised. And to be fair, it was one-way traffic for much of the game. Forest had their foot on Leeds' neck, and they snapped it with 20 minutes to go. Brilliant stuff from Gibbs White, and then sealed it with a penalty late on. So big win for Forest. Big win for Sean Dyche. Absolutely they needed. But for Leeds, after what was a really promising start, and they're still like doing quite well, but you have to say their away form is really poor. And at the moment, 3 points away from home. Only one win. That's 1 win and 5 losses away from home. And is their home form going to be good enough to keep them up at the moment? Not necessarily sure. Only 1 point clear of the relegation zone. I think if I'm a Leeds fan, don't get too ahead of yourselves about being clear of any relegation battle. They're right in the thick of it, I think.
Villa, Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool, the next 4 games.
That could be 4 losses very easily.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they could be well within the relegation zone in those games. But
who do Forest have? Forest have Liverpool, Brighton, and then Wolves, and then Everton. Or Dyche returning to Everton. So after the next 2 games are tough. Liverpool away, and Brighton at home, and then Wolves and Everton are both away. 2 massive games if they want to stay up.
All right, last game of the weekend was the blockbuster. Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. And just as you thought Liverpool were turning a corner, there's Pep Guardiola and Man City to slam them right back round it. Sim went for 1-1. I went for 2-1 to Man City, so I gained a point for this one. I thought this was just one-way traffic for pretty much 90 minutes. Man City, it was a demolition job. Pep Guardiola's 1,000th game, and he said it was a special one as it was against Liverpool, and he's had his best battles against Liverpool. But this must have been one of his easiest games against Liverpool, to be honest. I thought they absolutely wiped the floor with them. Doku was incredible down that left-hand side through the middle as well. I thought he just gave Liverpool the runaround for the majority of the game. His goal was just incredible. But the big talking point is the goal that Liverpool, it should have been given. That's the reality. Van Dijk's header, they give it for offside obstructing the keeper, and I just don't get why that's given. It just makes no sense to me. Yeah,
it's important to note the on-field decision was offside, so it had to be a clear and obvious error to overturn it. But for me, he's not getting involved in Donnarumma's line of sight. He doesn't really affect Donnarumma. I don't see why that should be disallowed. I think the VAR should have overturned it, and it should have been an equaliser, and it should be 1-1 at that point. And to be fair to Liverpool, I'm not saying they deserved anything from the game, but at that point in the game, just like slightly creeping back into it, if they would have got that goal, maybe a bit of momentum, it could have been a little different. As it was, obviously they were behind early. They then had that bit of luck into them. Then it went 2-0, the deflection, right on the stroke of half time. So then at that point, the game, I think, was taken away from them. I also think the penalty for me, I don't know if VAR should be getting involved in that for that penalty, which Haaland missed. I think it's such slight contact. I think if Man City don't make such a stink of it on the pitch, do VAR get involved? I think it goes to show the influence players can have on the officials. But to be fair, on the balance of play, regardless of the goal, the balance play, City definitely did deserve to be 2-0 up. They were much the better team. Second half, I do think Liverpool again were getting back into it, missed a couple of chances. They did have the chances to get, like Salah had some chances, and he put one wide. They had moments, but didn't take him. And then Doku, who was just an absolute joy to watch the whole game. It has to be one of the best winger performances I've ever seen, and definitely this season. Up there with one of the best I've ever seen. So exciting. What I liked about it wasn't just like dribbling for dribbling's sake, but effective to get in the position, create the chances, win the penalty, and then the goal he scored. If he's going to start doing that regularly, this guy, there's no stopping him, because we know he's got incredible ability to beat players like they're not there, like for fun. He can do that all day. The big question mark is on the end of it. Does he have the quality to bend it into the far corner regularly? And he did that against Liverpool. If he's going to start doing that, we might be looking at a potentially 20 goal a season winger right there if he's going to start doing that regularly. But we have to see him do it regularly before I can say he is going to start doing it. But what a performance. And Man City really throwing down the gauntlet to Arsenal in the title race in terms of Arsenal dropping points, City cutting the gap. What could have potentially have been before the weekend a 9-point gap, they've now cut it to 4 after the weekend. So that's massive. Man City as well have the experience of being in these positions before. They know what it's like chasing Arsenal. They've caught them once. They know what it's like being ahead of Arsenal. So it's not how Arsenal fans would have wanted the weekend to end in terms of the table, but it's still 4 points and they got to close it. And they have been losing games, so they're looking great. Pep says he feels it with this team. He feels the evolution. So who am I to argue with someone like Pep? But they've still lost 3 games this season, and that can't continue.
Yeah, look, I feel it as well. And I know they've lost a few games this season, but since losing to Brighton, I think they've been brilliant. Apart from that Villa game where they lost, I think in every other game, I think they've been fantastic. You know, they made light work of Bournemouth last week. They made light work of Liverpool in this game. And I think they're performing at a very high level. And I think they're getting better as well, which is great for them. And not only that, you know, we've all been talking about Erling Haaland and all the goals are coming from Erling Haaland. Well, and it's true, like Erling Haaland's got a high percentage of their goals. But very recently, in the last 2 or 3 games, they've started to share it around a little bit more. And that's what they need, because if Erling Haaland gets injured, I don't know, you know, it's going to be very hard for them. It's like kind of over-reliance on one man. So they need Doku to step up. They need Foden to step up. They need Cherki to step up. And by the way, Cherki, I think he's looking really good and settling in really well. I think all of those 3 players that I just mentioned, Doku, Foden and Cherki, are all playing at a very high level. They just need to show it and put the ball in the back of the net a bit more to, ease the burden on Haaland a little bit. But in the last 3 games, they've scored 10 goals. 6 of them have been Haaland.
Yeah, so it's only 60%.
Yeah, exactly.
In difference from 90%. I've also got Marmoush as well, who I think he's obviously if you look at their squad, you would say he's probably second in line to be a goal scorer in their team, and they need him to start chipping in a lot more, like he threatened to do last season. For 6 months, he was brilliant. He's been injured and hasn't really done much this season so far. But he's a big goal scorer. If they can get him starting to score goals as well, they do have goals there. They just haven't shown it. And if they can start showing it, as you say, Cherki, Foden, Marmoush, these kind of players, then there's going to be more than enough goals to ease the burden on Haaland. And I'm liking the back 4 of I like O'Reilly. I really like O'Reilly. He's really surprised me.
He dealt with Salah yesterday.
I think putting Gavardio back at centre-back is really helping him as well, next to Diaz, because I think Diaz needs someone who's got that kind of strength and pace that Gavardio has to help. That's a good balance there all of a sudden. Donnaruma's Donnarumma. And still they got Rodri to come back. I mean, that might be the case for the whole season. But Gonzalez showed yesterday what he can do in the nice goal. And
Nico Gonzalez, that goal had airs of Rodri in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was deflection, but he went for it, didn't he? And brilliant performance from City. And we saw Arsenal play against Liverpool and they lost. So it's not exactly, you can't give it as a given that you're going to win this game. And they wiped the floor with them and they made light work of it.
Real Madrid, Liverpool. Before this game, people are all saying Liverpool are back. They've turned the corner. They beat Real Madrid, kind of played them off the park that day. And Man City said, nah, you must be wrong, mate, because we're here to play and we're here to challenge Arsenal for the title and we're going to be hunting them down all season. And I think this weekend proved that there's going to be a big title race this year.
I think next weekend, though, there's 4 points now. Next week after international break, Arsenal got North London derby, City go to Newcastle. If they allow that gap to go to 7 points immediately straight away, that would tell me I don't know if they're going to keep the pace the whole season, because they're just too up and down. They need to go there and win really against Newcastle. They have to go there and win, or at least take a draw or something.
The weekend after though, like Arsenal got to go away to Chelsea, and City got like Leeds at home or something. So you never know what can happen over the next few weeks. Arsenal got hard fixtures coming up.
Yeah, they've had their run recently in the past 4 or 5 games has been fairly kind, hasn't it?
Yeah. So their hard games are coming. So Arsenal's next games are Tottenham at home. They got Bayern in the Champions League, and then they got Chelsea away. Then they got Brentford at home. Then Villa away.
They hate playing Emre, don't they?
Yeah. So they've got difficult games coming up, and they got to go Goodison Park soon as well.
Oh, and let's see if Man City are going to take advantage. The thing with the City is, once Pep gets his team going, you know, they don't need set pieces. There's no stopping them. You know what I mean?
You know, they're the only team in the league that haven't scored from a set piece.
Goh. They're the antithesis to Arsenal.
They are going to save this league single-handedly.
Save the league, save football. It's going to save football from the likes of Arsenal. We can't have Arsenal winning a league playing them this way. We can't have it. Then every team is going to be bloody doing this every single season. We need someone like City to play good football, possession football, open teams up and be successful and win the league with it. And that has to be the bar. We can't have Arsenal getting corners in, heading it in every game and winning the league in that way.
Unless Tottenham do it.
Unless Tottenham do it, yeah.
But that is Man City. The title race is well and truly on. Star men, Sim went for João Pedro, who got a goal and 0 assists. I went for Jarrod Bowen. They only scored 3 goals and Jarrod Bowen did nothing against Burnley. So Sim gets a 5-pointer for that.
Thank the Lord for Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah,
he
bloody
stepped
hell.
right in there, got in a centimetre before Bowen. So thank you, Carl. Big up to you.
So we end this week tighter than it was before the start of the week anyway. So 92 points to Sim, 98 points to myself, and that is that for a couple of weeks because we are going into an international break. And I would say this international break probably comes at the perfect time for Arsenal.
For Arsenal?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they got a lot of injuries up front and they're
see.
stretched, and you know all these players are coming back after the international break.
Yeah, they probably need it. Yeah, you're probably right about that.
All right, let's go.